how has it evolved, service design. I have been a service designer myself for almost 10 years, and as a practitioner, there has been a massive evolution, that it has changed so much. Working as a commercial projects, Damaris represents the non-commercial projects. She's been working on international development and social design. I have been working in commercial projects for commercial and public services, and I have seen myself, the nature of projects have changed. I started working for companies like Orange, and we were designing experiences. We were designing the journeys of people going through the purchase experience in retail. And the most recent projects that I'm doing, I'm designing for organizational change and change management strategies for people to adopt service design as a methodology to move the organization into people-centric, customer-centric organization. So it's more about organizational transformation. So you can tell that by the nature of the project, the service design as a discipline has also changed in kind of the importance and what designers can do about it. So we are in a great moment in which service design has a lot of impact, and we are very privileged to have projects that are very impactful and have the potential to change not only in the surface, designing for users, by changing the root cause of the problem, changing organizations and designing for organizations and people to truly embed customer-centric methodologies into everyday practices. So let's go back to the diagram. The timeline shows how service design have evolved into these different dimensions: technology and consumption, education, and then practitioners. So in the academic side, we have to look back at service design with the emergence of interaction design. Interaction design was the first discipline in which they were looking at interactive systems. They were looking at designing interactions from a systemic point of view. And service design has the roots in systemic perspective and has the roots in interaction design. Interaction design was born more as a no-channel-based discipline. Product design is channel-based. It's an object. It's going to be physical. But interaction design was born to capitalize on the digital side. But they were looking mostly at the interactions with system from the user side. So what tools can we design for the user to interact with the service? What we call touch point, we will introduce this later. That was in the 70s, so it's quite long ago. And then in the 80s, then we start having the emergence of internet, where the digital infrastructures are built. And this is a game changer, because then it's when it grows important on the digitalizations and having users empowered in using all this technology is what makes service design important, because then we start looking at services from the eyes of the customer, and then the empowerment of users is what makes companies, legacy companies, struggle a lot. Because now we have to empower users to self-serve, to use other channels that don't exist. And the user is the only one who sees the whole service. And companies don't. So service design helps with that. And then it's in the 80s at the same time that the internet is emerging, when the first time service design is coined by a marketing professor, Lynn Schulstad, who was a former banker, who I find is very interesting, because banks are struggling a lot today, being disrupted by startups and technology, and they're struggling to have this direct contact with the customer, because they are organizations that are designed and by default are designed to have very product-oriented sort of service. Even when financial services has the word services, banks are very product-oriented and have built their relationship with customers on the basis of offering products. And so they struggle a lot in this new paradigm of digitalization, when companies have a direct relationship and one interface between the service provider and the user. And so I find very interesting that it's a banker the one who coined the term. And we have now banks and retail being disrupted because it's an industry that didn't know how to have this direct service and didn't know how to really have this relationship with customers. I work a lot with banks. You are a service designer, you work with banks. In the 90s, we see the first course of service design. Birgit Marga, she is also the leader of the Service Design Network, which is the professional network for service design. Service design is a small community, but very strong. It also has some events here in Thailand. And the first course was created in Cologne in the 90s, the same time that Toyota product system is set up, which is the emergence of Lean, which is also something that we have to look in parallel with the history of service design, because when software development is using this methodology for making the development leaner and more efficient, it touches upon a little bit on the mindset of service design. That we look at efficiency from the customer perspective. We look at making sense from the customer perspective. It looks at making sense from the manufacturing perspective and the engineering perspective. But it starts growing this interest in making things leaner, in looking at the full picture and operationalizing the service and manufacturing in a way that it's easier for people to use and more pragmatic. So we have to look at these disciplines not as exclusive from each other, but as complementary of each other. I would say service design is the first part of the process, so designing the right thing. Why are we doing this? Service design helps us define that. And then we have Lean, which helps us to put it into practice and develop it in a lean manner. Then in 2000, we have the first service design agency where I have worked as a consultant, which is called LiveWork Studio. And that happened in 2000, and also IGO started to claim that they were doing service design. So they are the first ones that start applying it and offering service design as a consultancy service in 2000. Same time that YouTube emerges, which is very important because YouTube emerges as a platform that empowers the users for the first time to have no intermediates. No service provided is needed. I am Justin Bieber, I'm using YouTube platform, I don't need a big industry of music behind or production. I can have my fans and I am empowered. And it's very important because that puts pressure to companies to start understanding users. Because until then, companies were inside-out driven. That means we were doing our product and it was a product push, sales approach. I produce, you sell, and this is how I make money because of this exchange of value of this transaction. But then YouTube comes and it breaks all this paradigm and it says, no, the user actually has the power now, and it's us, the companies, who needs to understand them, because there's no longer this hierarchy where the user has to do what we say. And so that puts pressure to companies to start understanding users, and that's why service design becomes really important here, because it empowers companies to understand who their users really are, how can they provide value, and provide this change of paradigm, and start thinking services in a different way, and moving also from product to services. Then we have the iPhone, which is a very powerful tool and digital channel that is adding a new channel in the service delivery. Also very important in terms of digitalization, but also very important in terms of when we look at designing experiences, cross-channel experiences. Service design also considers all the channels, not only digital, but how can we design experiences together with the physical element and all the channels, including retail and the customer channels. How can we include the customer channel as part of our service delivery? And then we have Airbnb. We have the emergence from what In the 80s, the internet starts setting up the foundations of digital infrastructure, and then in 2008 we have Airbnb and the emergence of digital and peer-to-peer business model, this collaborative economy, which also shows that users are empowered to build their own business models with very little infrastructure, that it makes them disrupt the market really fast. And these digital business models or platform-based models are a big disruption for legacy companies, and again putting pressure in designing linear business models that are service-based, that offer this user experience, that it's seamless, that it's end-to-end, and that it's opening up a new type of business and a new type of organization, that it's faster growing, it's faster in delivery, and it creates great satisfaction because it's set up for customer satisfaction. It's not set up for product push and only for sales. Complete game changer. And then legacy companies are struggling in this pace of change. And then in 2010 we have the GDS I mentioned before, the Government Digital Service Unit. This is a state-of-the-art service design that we look at as a great kind of practitioner reference in the field of service design. They are the Digital Service Team unit that it's embedded in the UK government. That shows how important it has become to digitalize services and have their own team specialized in doing that in-house in government. So this unit is run by service design. So it shows that the discipline is getting tracked and it's gaining kind of its own place and recognition, which is something that it was a great moment for the field, because it showed that service designers, they had kind of picked up a momentum where they could have a place not only in design studios but also in public services, in policy making, and be part of very relevant issues in shaping public services from within. And then in 2020, we have this trend that's still happening today, which is business consultancy absorbing service design consultancies. And an example of this is Fjord with Accenture, but we have an endless list of business consultancies absorbing the small service design consultancies, which shows again that there is an importance in having the service design capability, that it shows that it's part of business and management, and it's part of solving business problems. And we see today that most of the agencies that were set up as independent service design consultancies, they are now owned by these big technology giants or business consultancies, which I think it's quite indicative of this evolution and growing importance of service design getting tracked in the business world. If there are any questions, please raise your hands. I'm very happy to stop, to clarify anything, or if you have any reactions to what we are saying, please feel free to react and disagree. Let's look at some trends of why is service design important today. There's the trend of technology and automation. Today we have lots of new technology that connects to deep human needs. I have this example here of the Amazon Dash button. So you run out of toilet paper, you click the button and it automatically creates the order for you to get the toilet paper. So we are in the times of great technology emerging. We have AI, Internet of Things, but technology alone doesn't do anything. And we are the drivers of change of these technologies, that we are rethinking the way that we can use this technology. It is helping us, it's providing us with the means to serve customers with more direct contact with the service provider, and it's helping us also to cut some of the costs, so we can substitute people with machines. I mean, this is what is happening. Like London Underground, I was participating in a project where they were removing the people selling tickets, and they substituted with online ticketing, and actually you don't need even a ticket nowadays in the London Underground, you just wave your card. And so service design role here is very important, because technology alone doesn't do anything. So what is the purpose of this new technology? How can we utilize this technology in this service? Service design helps us to find purpose, help us to redefine the purpose of an organization and see how they can utilize this technology to leverage their existing capabilities. Also, it helps to differentiate services. Technology, if everyone has ultimately the same technology, how can we differentiate one service from another? To add competitive advantage, service design helps to find what's the added value of this new technology. How can we make sense of this new technology that help me achieve something, like GDS says in their definition. Services helps me to have an outcome. So what is the outcome we have to help people achieve? What is this technology going to help me with my service? Provide something and change something in the life of people. And this is the added value that service design can help define. Another driver of change is digitalization and platform economy. With the platform economy, we mean Google, Amazon, all this digital infrastructure that is creating a new type of business, which is platform-based. And this digital business model depends more and more on platform solutions. Example of Uber. Uber is built on a platform of Google, and it's making organizations be designed differently. So organizations need to include these platforms, and they need to rethink all their systems and rethink what kind of contact do they want to have with their users. So what it's making this kind of digitalization paradigm is making the industry shift, the industries shift and the markets shift. So we used to have, let's say, housing, real estate as one industry, that it was named based on a segment, on a market segment. Or let's say automation. We had automation defined as an industry based on a market segment. But nowadays we don't have automation anymore. We have mobility. So this name change shows that we are moving the boundaries of the industries into more user-driven industries. So it's not anymore automation, which is describing a market segment based on a product, which is the car. We talk about mobility. And mobility talks about the end-to-end experience. So we have these platform-based services that they don't serve only one moment in time. They serve for the full and the entire customer journey, the end-to-end experience. And what can service design help in here? Service design can help in service innovation, can help to design new services. So what can we do with these platforms today that can create these services that they are end-to-end? They can help to connect user journeys. So instead of having automation only, so we can help, say for example, Ford, the automation brand, we can help Ford think outside their boundaries that they themselves have set up and think about mobility. So what is beyond the car that we can help people with? Maybe we can help them park. Maybe we can help them save time on the roads. So this type of paradigm change, it requires service innovation, and service design can help with that. We can also support with organizational transformation by embedding service design capability and culture. Like Damaris said before, design is a mindset. And for organizations to become platform-based businesses, first they need to change the mindset, and they have to become customer-centric. And then for customer centricity, you need to first change the mindset. People start empathizing with the users, take time. And also it takes time to change processes and systems for legacy organizations. Startups, they are already built on this kind of ethos and DNA. For legacy companies, this is a problem. Startups, they are born with this. The problem is legacy organizations that they are set up with these boundaries that it's not allowing them to capitalize on this platform and digitalization. Next trend, we see that there are new power structures with digitalization, internet. There is a change. Services are more democratized. So we have the power more than ever. As consumers, still we have to do a lot in terms of consumer rights with airlines, but that's another topic. But we have the means. We talk to each other. We have the voice. We have Twitter. And what we say, it puts pressure into companies. So do you remember the scandal with United Airlines? That the passenger was trying to be removed of a plane. That made the stock exchange completely go down. And that was because people were talking about it. Customer satisfaction is very important. Reviews are very important. You can change a hotel. You can screw up a hotel by sending a bad review. Because we have the means. We have internet, and that is very powerful, and social media, and that travels fast. And because we are in a different economy in which users have a say, and we try to understand users, and they are co-creators of the service as well, it's very important that users are on our side. Also, users are co-creators of the service, and they are service providers themselves. So think about Airbnb. If I don't host, Airbnb doesn't exist. Airbnb relies on hosts. And these hosts would be the users themselves. These are regular people. They are not the service providers. But they are, in this new economy, service providers. So we need to have them on our side. Also, we see the empowerment of citizens being more and more important in this new power structure. They are self-organized communities using open source network, and we have the example of Me Too. This is self-organized communities, the society is self-organized, and we don't need big infrastructure or big authorities to back that up. We don't need permission anymore. And you can move millions and millions of people across the world, starting by one person. The hashtag can do a lot. So with very little means, people are empowered. And also, they are empowered in public services to be part of the service delivery because of technologies also enabled. What can service design do with that? We can create engagement strategies for change, so we can help in involving people, make part of the process, but not only the user, but also staff. So there's this new power structure which is telling us that the power of people is very important. So we have to give the voice to everyone. So we have to bring into the table management with staff, with users, everyone in the same table. And this co-creation is something that service design has as its core. We can also help in creating new approaches for governance, decision making, and leadership. Service design calls for a new type of leadership. And I don't know still which type of leadership, but it's a different one to the traditional one we used to in business management. It's not hierarchical, it's more horizontal, and it is iterative, and it is inclusive. But still, that's my personal passion, finding out what's the new type of leadership that service design. Then we have a last trend, which is quality of life and sustainability. So this is, as you can see,
service design has been applied mostly to business and private sector. But actually, in the last few years, service design has started to open new horizons. And for the last 5 years, for example, I used my expertise and experience applying service design in the commercial sector to start exploring new, like looking at social innovation, looking at climate change, looking at public health. That's the area I'm specialized. But right now, if we think about migration crisis, climate change, there's these larger programs and challenges that actually service design started to be part on. As you can see, in the UK, there's a very large success of bringing service design in the government. And then you can see, I think this is also, this training is also part of the result, like how, governments across the world is starting to see also the value of service design. So you can start seeing that how it's been applied more and more in different contexts. And what I think is really, really important here is that service design and design really needs to bring a value to think how do we want to shape our future. Not just having the short-term perspective, also thinking on the long term, really creating visions for the future and see how we can achieve those visions. And for me, there's also this, I really work for the right to health, but also I really see the right to also have good design around you. I think everyone deserves to have good experiences, doesn't matter where you're from or where you live. And I think here, with the role of service design, to look at those visions and those futures. I work to really, for example, provide better health outcomes, how we can reduce maternal health mortality rates, how we can reduce the number of children under 5 that they die for malnutrition. Design and self-design is now part of those conversations. So you can see, self-design apply, with the United Nations. These are the Sustainable Development Goals, and actually designers, they are now there to try to bring those values into those goals. And I think as a mindset, what is really important is this collaboration mindset, is working with anthropologists, working with many different deep expertise skill sets that they are not used to work with each other, and really bringing these collaboration, multidisciplinary approaches are really bringing a lot of value. And also, how we kind of create these new collaboration models. Then maybe it's a bit of a leadership model. I really believe in cooperation, and cooperation, I think is a really, really important mindset. That I think it can bring a lot of value to these challenges. And how we can have this long-term vision. I think that service design and other new design fields are really looking at this long-term view. That we hope that we can bring a lot of value. We are trying to build evidence on this because it's quite the bigger the challenge, the difficult is to bring those numbers. I think with the commercial sector we have shown the impact, but here we still, I think, we're in the process of bringing those evidences to support the value of service design in this area. So we have shown you also this overview of where we are going with service design. So I think now what we can do is a little break, so we can, stretch and relax for, I think we have about 15-minute break. It's short, but I hope that you can maximize it. So we are back at 10:45. Okay, so 17 minutes to extra minutes. Thank you.
beginning.
It's the same. So this one is the first one that was born, but this one was not born here. So I could have used this example in the video here. So imagine that here as a service design consultancy we launched here in the 2000, early 2000. And now in 2020, all of the which it shows an evolution that here is set up by designers. They are doing the discipline. Now business consultancy and other types of organizations are absorbing because they see the values and yeah, we want to yes. Yeah, that's a good
Because
point.
like this one
That's
is
a
like
good point.
already
Creative and it's learning since the beginning. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, exactly. And we are like, okay, we need to change also the way we manage businesses. We need to include this creative thinking because it's proving that it has a track record and we need to have this thinking ourselves. Yeah, totally. Thank you.
cuando hablamos de los momentos. Vale, yo creo que sí. Pero eso está como por la tarde, ¿no? No, está después del lunch. Después del lunch. Pues sí, yo creo que a lo mejor hacerle como un poquito de actividad. Sí, esa te aquí, ¿no? Sí. Yes, I work with Sonder is like a design collective focused on social innovation. Yes, yes. Bring a different perspective. Yes. She does a good job.
They are like brother and sisters.
Oh, yeah,
Design
yeah.
and marketing.
I try to learn about the customer journey techniques.
Yes.
And I just know
Yeah, they look great. Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking actually comes from marketing. So like
That's the flyer. That's comes before and the customer journey comes later.
yes.
I think it's complementary.
Service design was more from marketing, but then because of this design thing, the research center more important than the food, the creative industry is more important than the position of visualizing things and making sense of blueprints in combination with the viewer understanding.
More familiar with the design and these tools stand for because the like double diamond is another kind of.
No, but it's visible also. Now, this tool they use more like the different kind of approach stages, like if you understand if your point of view, yes, design is similar. But the thing that the diameter, yes, it's trying to simplify a bit the process more generally. But it is very similar to this code, I would say. It's just that it's more generic. I think it implies that there's a specific process. It's about pues no sé si lo que podemos hacer es traer alguien más.
Vamos a avanzar, pero el designer o algo así. Puede ser ahora, puede ser.
ฉันจะไปไหนนะ
Cualquier cosa que me guste también. No, es como esto puedo que sea joya.
Me gusta la idea que se vaya
Una pulsera,
pasando.
¿no? Sí, es el siguiente. Esto puede ser un pendiente. Esto puede ser.
Me parece bien que lo hagamos ahora.
Sí.
Porque el service design
ไปติดตัวกัน
Sí, por lo menos para cambiar un poco el rollo. Pero a lo mejor tenemos. Estamos. Es un poco. Puede ser algo así.
อยู่ในฟอร์แมตของภาพที่อยู่ในฟอร์แมตของอันนี้มันจะเข้ากับ
sido una de las ideas
Okay, I hope you're back. Yeah, okay, so let's start. We're going to have a little like creativity break because we're speaking too much and we get tired, so we want to make you work, and for that, we've been talking about like design and creativity, and sometimes we think about like, these innovation ideas, like really like fancy things, but actually the creativity can be untapped with very little things. And actually I really like to do these very small, simple exercises that makes us use our imagination, our creativity, and using this like mindset that we've been speaking about. So I want to do this exercise that I want to introduce you this little, I don't know even what's the name. It's a bit more like a Christmas decoration, but it's this little thing that is very elastic and very flexible. You can see it now in the table. And what I want to do is a little exercise that we do in each of the tables. And what we do is that with this, what's the name of it? Let's call it like a stick, flexible stick. Yeah. Let's find like as many ideas, purposes, what we can do with it. Okay, I'm going to think of one. Now I'm holding the mic, so my first idea would be like, I've seen it that you do it with the milkshakes. That you have this holder when you get tired, when you're walking in the street. So I have my, when I'm tired, I walk with my microphone so it doesn't get tired. Okay, so I'm going to pass it to Nuria. Maybe she finds a purpose or something, an idea that how she could use this.
I have lots of hair. Sometimes it gets in the way.
Okay, so now I think you have 3 or 4 in each table, so maybe what we could do is find an idea or something that it could be useful in the current moment, and then share with each, as a group share, and start thinking how many ideas or purposes you can give to this flexible stick. So you have 5 minutes, and you can discuss it with your group, share ideas, and maybe we can share together at the end of the 5 minutes. 5 minutes, yes.
But you have to show. Yeah, Just share the idea.
Please count the ideas down. We want you to make a list. The team that has more ideas, different applications, win. Write it down.
Okay, how are we feeling? Good? Many ideas? There's something for me when we did the four corner exercise. There was one is like, who comes from creative fields? And, I always believe that everyone is creative. It's not about like, if you are like a creative, you can only experience creativity. I think creativity is in everything that we do. I think science the science is full of creativity. Engineers, there's a lot of creativity involved. And this exercise is just to, I see creativity also as a muscle. It's something that you need to exercise. It's something that we all need to exercise a bit. So this is a little like warm up for our muscle, creative muscle. So let's see in which table who has around 1 to 5 ideas. Who has, you can raise the hand if you had around 1 to 5 ideas in your table. Yeah, this table? Okay, good. What about 5 to 10 ideas? Okay, I see there. Okay, 10 to 20? Oh, there's also. Okay, more than 50? No? Okay, so I'm going to pass the mic just to see, how many ideas. You can share maybe the one that you found more cool, more interesting, more innovative. So I'm going to pass the mic throughout different tables, and you can share the one that you are more proud of.
Okay, we have sunglass, and then we can put in the Barbie. Okay, and then we can put in the sunglass. Okay, and then we have a brand. Okay. We have the other one, bicycle. And spring, and then bike parking. Okay, and then brand for sunglass.
Thank you. Okay. Anything to share?
Actually, we didn't try to create that much. We tried to create a story. And we have a story, it's we just create something for a couple. So this is a kind of art decoration. And we also have this ribbon put in like that. And of course, we have a surprise ring. And this is more than 10 carats. You see? So we just make it as a story, I want to surprise a couple to a propose for the wedding, something like that.
Very nice. You can use storytelling also, with a little piece of plastic. Okay, let's go around here. I'll just pick a few tables because. Okay, anyone here wants to share?
There are many things we can think of. We have this thing to hold the bottles, go to anywhere. And also we have many kinds of things that we can put on the hair. We have the photo here. Like the decoration. And also we have, what else? Thing that we can hold the glasses, book marker, the wristband, holy wristband. Okay, many things.
Thank you. Okay, one last table here. Let's see. To share?
Okay, we come up with the idea of the name tag for as a mother. Sometimes we take the children to the crowded areas and we are worried about they getting lost. So we're gonna make a name tag for them around their wrist. And this can apply for the citizens as well because Thailand will become aging society in a decade. So the old people may get Alzheimer. Okay, and this is to prevent them getting lost if they get out of the house. Like the name tag with the name of the the mother, the parents, and the telephone number. Yeah, you can apply for everything. or the husband.
Yeah, great. Let's move the table. I think we are getting very inspired. Okay, who wants to share?
Okay, a little before deciding in that way, my group have a side for accessories, something, hair pins, necklace, bust, and my idea also in the jumping on the bottom, big, or something like that. I don't know, or my idea. I don't know, you understand or not? Something like that. Okay? That's okay.
Thank you. Okay, so which table do we have left? Yes, let's clap, let's celebrate. Okay, I think this table, no, we haven't shared.
Okay, we came up with a couple ideas. Some of them would be like decoration and the jewelry. And the one that we most proud of is something like this, the circles. So you can draw the many circle at once. You know, you can add more pencil and so on. So you can make round and make a mini circle at once.
Very practical idea. Okay, so let me, because I've been going around, let me know who has, you haven't shared, no? Yet? Okay, I'm living in the middle.
Actually, our group has come up with 16 ideas actually. But one of the most outstanding idea is that the bottle holder. Can you show us? Please, can you show us? It's pretty strong and it can hold like more than 50 kilos. I've tested it. And the second idea is that what is that? Where is it? Ah, okay, it's a saucer or a coaster.
Yeah.
Pretty work. Is it? Alright, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who is table? Who wants to share? Come on.
About our ideas, the first one is the bottle holder like this, and the next one is the key holder. We can gather the key in this, and the next one is the toy for the children.
I have many bottle holders. I think we have to sell the idea. It's kind of wonder that it doesn't exist yet. Well done! Big round of applause. All right, so we go back to sharing some literature about service design, some academic literature. We just picked some, and it's like just to clarify more about services. And we encourage you also, we can share through the platform that Mulika has set up in Facebook, that we can share more links, that you can read the journals and the full articles about these academic theories.
So we're going to start talking about, services sometimes, like what is a service, what is really like, the essence of the service. And it's quite easy if we see it through comparing goods and services. And we see what are the characteristics of goods, what are the characteristics of services. So it helps us to see what are the key differences and the characteristics that make services so unique and how we design services. So let's look at, on the left we have goods and some of the characteristics, and then on the right we see the differences between goods and services. So the first characteristic that it makes actually designing services so complicated, I think, is that goods are tangible. I can touch it. It's tangible. But services mostly are intangible. When you are designing a service, we are designing some intangibility. And we're going to use the example of a haircut. If we say, you know, Nuria, I just had a haircut. I mean, you can notice, but the act of the hair, the service of the haircut is something that she cannot see. But of course, you know, she can see that maybe my hair is a bit shorter today. So the idea is that, you know, if we think about the implications of the tangibility of a service, is that services cannot be inventorized. You cannot like say how many services do I have left. Or, you know, they're very difficult because they're so intangible, they cannot be patented so easily that, you know, the phone, you know, you can patent some of the technology behind. That intangibility makes sometimes very difficult to communicate services. And they're actually sometimes, you know, brands and how we can communicate the service becomes even equally important as defining the business behind them. And also sometimes, you know, if you think about, for example, haircuts, how many prices do you get on a haircut? It can be something that costs like very little or very much. And why the prices vary so much? Another thing that it's different between a good and a service is that goods are quite standardized. And let's think on, I don't know if I have scissors around here, but you know, we think about scissors. Scissors are mostly kind of the same shape. You know, through safety, there's this standardized process how they are produced, and they look, it's quite easy to set up a standard process to produce a scissor. But when we think about services, they're quite heterogeneous. And what does it mean is that you kind of not get the exact same haircut twice, you know? Every haircut is a bit different. Why? Because the service delivery and the customer satisfaction depends on the interaction between the hairdresser and the user. And that means also, you know, there's so many factors that creates the service different from each other. It's like, I woke up today a bit tired, so that means maybe I don't go with a lot of energy to the hairdresser, so maybe my expectations are a bit like lower than usual. Maybe the hairdresser also, you know, has been working a lot, so maybe, you know, it's a bit more tired. So there's so many factors that plays a role in the service quality that